In this tutorial, we are going to discuss about the topic list comprehensions. Comprehensions allow us to create sequences from other sequences. List comprehensions are a tool for transforming one list or any iterable sequence into another list. And this is the basic syntax for the list comprehension: expression for item in list. And a list comprehension returns a list. They consist of square brackets containing the expression which needs to be executed for every element, along with a for loop to iterate over each element. Using an example, we will understand how this works. So, in our first example, we want to create a list 2, which is an exact copy of list 1. So, we will try and understand this expression here. We use a for loop in order to retrieve every element in list 1. And every element in list 1 is denoted by this variable here, that is the input variable, the variable representing elements of the input sequence. So x is for the elements in list 1. The x here represents an output expression producing elements of the output list. So if you want to create an exact copy of list 1, this is the expression. So this means for every element in list 1, the element x is generated in list 2. So we will see this in Jupyter Notebook. So here I have defined list 1. Now I'm going to create list 2, which is an exact copy of list 1, by using the list comprehension. So the expression would be for x in list 1, that means for every element in list 1, I want to generate an element x in list 2. So let's execute this expression and then display list 2. So here we have list 2, which is a copy of list 1. Now consider another example. We want to create a list 2 where the elements in list 2 are a square of the elements in list 1. So let's put the expression in square brackets, and let's begin with the variable representing the elements in the input sequence for x in list 1, and we want the elements in list 2 to be squared, so x to the power of 2. So this means the for loop retrieves every element in list 1 and then squares the element and adds it to list 2. Execute this expression in Jupyter Notebook. So the expression for list 2 should be x to the power of 2. Let's put this in parenthesis, and then the for statement for x in list 1, and then execute this statement and then display list 2. So as you can see, using one single line of code, we have created list 2 from list 1. So we have considered 2 examples for list comprehension. Now let's discuss the third example, where elements in list 2 will be included only if they satisfy a certain condition. So list comprehensions can utilize conditional statements. So let's see this. the same expression that we used for squaring all the elements in list 1, we are going to use the same expression. So x to the power of 2 for x in list 1. And I want to put a condition that only if the element is greater than 0 in list 1, then only square the element. So the statement would be if x greater than 0. So this particular statement checks for the elements where it is greater than 0. Only if it is greater than 0, it is squared and then included in the new list. So let's execute this expression in Jupyter Notebook. So here in the Jupyter Notebook, I'm going to write the list comprehension statement. So let's begin with for loop for x in list 1. The element in the new list should be squared. Condition is if x greater than 0. So let's execute this and then display list 2. So as you can see, there are 4 elements in list 1 which are greater than 0. Hence the elements have been squared and then the new list 2 has been created. So this is about list comprehension. In this tutorial, we will discuss about list constructor. A list constructor creates a new list based on the past sequence. The sequence doesn't need to be a list. It can be any kind of sequence. And this is how the list constructor is denoted. List open close parenthesis. And this is the syntax for the list constructor. So you can pass an iterable as a parameter to the list constructor. So first I'm going to pass a list containing elements such as 1, 2 and 3 and see the output in the Jupyter Notebook. So here I have the list constructor and I'm going to pass the sequence 1, 2, 3 and then execute the cell. So here I have the list created. Let's now pass a string which is another iterable to the list constructor. Say I'm going to pass the string Python and then execute this. As you can see, the list constructor has retrieved each of the characters in the string and then added to the list. And if you do not pass any parameters to the list constructor, an empty list is created. So this is about list constructor.